Fei, thank you very much for joining us. I want to draw on your experience, not just as a lawyer, but also your work with the Ministry of Commerce here in Beijing. With that experience, pull that all together for us. What is this regulatory push looking like ultimately? What will the impact be on the tech sector here?
Yeah, I would say this probably is the most important development this year for the antitrust community and also for the tech companies. Clearly, the government has been sent out messages through the new regulations, through the enforcement actions, and particularly President Xi's recent remarks that this industry is now under spotlight and under an increasing degree of scrutiny from the government as compared to the past. So apparently companies are concerned and paying close attention to that. But on the other hand, I would also see the companies are generally welcoming this development in the sense this would give more clarity on how on the rules and also the enforcement actions, and also this would eventually benefit the market by leveling the playground for everyone in the market. So I think in the short term, people are nervous, but in the long term, this could help improve the healthy development of the industry. That's the general understanding of the market. Yeah.
Okay, there are the financial technology risks, the financial sector risks, but there also is the charge from officials here that these companies have been involved in monopolistic practices. How real has that been? Is that the reality on the ground?
I would say this is also not new to China. As you can see in Europe, in US, globally there's a trend to pay more attention to the tech giants, particularly platforms, whether they have powers through big data, also through the network effect. So that's why I think that's a driver behind the enforcement action as well.
Right. Excuse me. This is David here, Fei. How do companies ensure compliance, which I imagine, of course, is their main objective, if the rules are still being formed?
Yeah. That's a very good point. I think the biggest challenge now for the companies are, on one hand, their business model and their practice were developed under the older regulatory regime which was more relaxed. Now they're under closer scrutiny, but there is basically no precedent, and also the rules are still, as you said, being crafted. So I think from our clients' perspective, it's valuable to engage more closely with the government, participating in the legislative initiatives, and also have closer dialogue and talks with the government to help them understand the industry and also shaping the regulatory framework together. And that's what we have observed as well.
So we now have a good idea, at least, of the industries that are fairly obviously going to be hit or affected by this. From your experience, though, do you think this is only going to be limited to tech and internet, or are there other sectors, local and also foreign companies, that need to start paying attention here?
Yeah, definitely. I think platform and also tech giants are in the new in the current data economy, digital economy. Basically, platform is everywhere and is linked to everyone's operation and daily life. So it's now more and more important to everyone. So operating in a platform or dealing with platform could also give rise to risk under anti-monopoly law based on the new regulation. So I think, of course, companies could also use the anti-monopoly law to seek a more protection against potential monopolistic conduct as well. So it's important for everyone to pay close attention to the new rules and also to take up compliance efforts. I think the other area is the investment area. So particularly for international investors who are going to do transactions in tech sector or any sector which may involve VIE structure, they need to pay more attention to the merger control rules, whether their transaction will trigger filing requirement in China, whether there could be substantive risk, even make the deal to be blocked or be imposed on conditions. So I think this is also an area that investors or international investors need to look at.
Right, and on that point, we've seen a number of the tech companies here hit by retroactive fines from the regulators for some of that deal making. Do you think it goes further than that ultimately? Will they be pressured to spin off some of these acquisitions?
Actually, according to the Chinese anti-monopoly law and regulation, the transaction could only be revoked when there is a competition concern. So for most, I think vast majority of the transactions, the risk for unwinding the transaction would be really, really low. But if there were to be one or two transactions with major competition concern and didn't file it back then, there could be such a risk. But I would say that's an extreme case and would not happen to most of the cases.
Okay, since we're talking to you as well, final question. Is this in any way connected to the new foreign investment law? Because I understand you're also an expert on that.
I think these all of these together would suggest a closer scrutiny from the government to the tech sector, whether it's from the anti-monopoly side or whether it's from the foreign investment regime side. So everyone needs to be closely monitoring and following the development in China, just to ensure both a smooth transaction timetable and also to ensure a compliant operation in China.
Yep, as you mentioned, there's no precedent for this in Chinese, as you then put it there. 知法是最好的普法, right? Enforcement is the best way to educate the business public, I guess, in this case. Fei Zhou, thank you so much for that antitrust